Sanjay, today we are going to talk about EEAT. Okay, honestly, I've been doing a lot of research on this online, especially watching a lot of videos. Every video that I watch is different from one from other. So
yeah, I think that's where a lot of confusion starts.
Okay.
Everyone is summarizing someone else's summary. So today we said let's skip that whole chain and let's go straight to what Google actually published by themselves.
okay, great. So because if I'm not wrong, there's an actual document that was released by them, right? Oh, it's not a myth.
No, not exactly. It is called Search Quality Review Guidelines. It is public. Anyone can go read it. It is like 182 pages.
Oh, 182 pages.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
It is a document that Google gives to actual human reviews.
Okay.
Real people who evaluate whether Google's algorithm are producing good search result. Kind of like our restaurant uses feedback cards from diners to see whether the food is good or not.
Great. So here you're saying the reviewers can't directly control my rankings here.
No, that's a common mix-up.
Okay.
Reviewer scores do not touch your ranking directly, but the guidelines tell you exactly what Google's automate systems are being tuned to reward.
Okay.
So it's basically the closest thing. We have to Google explain their own homework.
Okay, so let's back up a while. And where did this EEAT even come from? Because I remember long back it was only EAT, right? Just the 3 letters. Now it became 4.
There is an important distinction here because Google told us directly on December 2022, Search Central blocked their own words. They said reviewers had already assessed EAT experience, that is expertise, authoritativeness and trustworthiness. But they added a second E, that's for the experience.
Okay, so what's the difference between expertise and experience then?
That's the key distinction, Jerry. Today, Google literally spelled it out. They said it's about whether content was produced with, quote, some degree of experience, such as it with actually use of a product,
Okay.
having actually visited a place, or communicating with a person experienced.
So expertise is basically like the subject academically.
Right, credentials, knowledge.
Great. And the experience is you have actually done the thing.
Yes, right. And Google actually gives a pretty good example of this flat, so that some situation specifically calls out for someone who first-hand lived experience over just theoretical expertise. Think product reviews. Would you rather read a review from someone who read the specific sheet or someone who actually owned the product for 6 months?
Yeah, that one hits home. I mean, I have definitely been burned by expert roundups content. That's clearly nobody actually used the product.
Exactly the gap Google trying to close.
Okay, so now let's get into the actual guidelines. So what do they say in Google own words?
A few things in the guidelines really caught my attention. First, reviewers are told straight up to judge web page quality using EEAT, that's experience, expertise, authoritativeness and trust.
Simple enough.
But there is a part people asking about it. The guidelines say reviewers apply very high standards specifically for what Google calls YMYL topics.
Okay, just remind everyone here, what is YMYL?
That's your money, your life. Anything that could affect someone's health, finance, safety or well-being.
So a random recipe blog isn't held to the same bar as, say, a page about medication dosages.
That's the idea. The low quality content in YMYL space carries real potential for harm, so that the bar goes way up.
Okay, so that makes sense. So what was the other thing that stood out for you?
There is another interesting point in the guidelines that searches came from, that all kind of backgrounds, different ages, genders, races, religions, political views and reviewers get aside their own personal opinions and represent the actual searches, not themselves.
Okay, I mean that's kind of a big deal actually. I mean, because it means Google is trying to build in some objectivity into a process that's inherently human and subjective.
Right, they are aware of the biased risk and addressing it directly on the document.
Great. So now here's a part I think is the most slept on insight in the whole guideline itself. So go ahead and hit them with the trust thing.
Okay, so most people treat EEAT like 4 equal boxes.
Yes.
Check the box for experience, check the box for expertise, and so on.
Right, like a checklist basically.
But Google doesn't represent it as a checklist. They literally quote in guidelines, section 3.4, it says, quote, trust is the most important member of EE80 family.
Not equally important, it literally says the most important.
Yes, right. They're actually visualize its overlapping circles with trust sitting right in the center, so that you could have a page with real experience, a real expertise, a real authority, and it can still fail the whole assessment if it fails on trust.
Okay, so give me an example, because that sounds very abstract.
We have very own example of on Google. An actual medical doctor, genuinely expert, genuinely credentialed, who spreads medical misinformation, still fails EE80 expertise, doesn't saves it.
Okay, so the trust isn't a bonus point here. It's basically like a gate you have to pass through, no matter how good everything else is.
That's exactly it. It's a load-bearing wall. The other three don't compensate for its absence.
Okay, so that's actually great context itself. But let's get into more practical topics here. If I am a marketer listening right now, and I want to do something with this actually, so what's the move that I take, the first step?
And this is where it becomes convenient for the marketers, because Google doesn't just leave us a theory. Their own developer documents gives you a specific assessment framework, 3 questions, who, how, and why.
Great. Okay, so can you break those down?
Yes. Who actually created this content?
Okay.
And there is a real named person behind it with visible credentials.
Obviously. So it's basically like no more poster admins.
Yes. How was it created? Was there a real research done, or a real verification, or some real first-hand experience on it? And is that process really transparent to the readers?
And what about why?
This one is the sneaky one. Why does this content exist? Is it genuinely trying to help you or the readers, or what is built primarily to rank in the search?
Okay, that kind of stings a little. I mean, I think a lot of us have published stuff, and if you're honest, the real answers to why was because the keyword tool said that this has to be good volume.
Yes.
I mean,
and honestly, that's where a lot of content goes wrong. Google not asking you to prove you are a world-class expert on a paper.
Okay.
They're asking why the page exists at all.
Okay, so before we wrap up here, okay, you mentioned that this got updated recently too, right? So this isn't some static thing from years ago.
Yes, and it's worth pointing out that guidelines are still evolving. On September 2025, still the active version throughout this year, 2 big changes worth knowing. One, they revoked how reviewers judge AI overview specifically.
Okay.
Reviewers now have to judge whether an AI generated answer is actually helpful, correct, or comprehensive.
So basically you're saying even the AI answers are getting the EAT treatment now.
Exactly. It's not just for regular web pages anymore.
Okay.
And it's 2. They expanded the YMYL categories.
Okay.
What they used to be YMYL society is now YMYL government, civics, and society. Specifically covering content that could influence public trust in the institutions.
So basically the scope is just getting widening and not narrowing down.
That's the through line for basically everyone we talked about it today.
Okay.
Google's not pulling back the scrutiny. They are extending it further into AI generated content, into civic topics everywhere.
So all right, so if someone's listening and wants one thing to actually go after this episode, what would you say?
Take your last published piece of content and run this who, how, and why test on it. Honestly, you don't just publish an answer that makes you feel good.
And if you get stuck on who itself?
Start there first.
Okay.
Everything else is downstream of that one.
Great. Thanks a lot for that, Sanjay. I mean, I understood most of the points which you told, so hopefully our audience also. And if you guys have doubts, you can always comment onto it.
Anytime, go read the primary source. People, it's genuinely not what you think it is.
If this topic was interesting to you, make sure to go and subscribe to that channel and share the video for a person who needs this. So we'll be making sure to keep on looking into the Google for more such updates and making sure to provide it for you. Okay, so see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.